Hey, April. Ava, hi. I'm just gonna take my notes up while we're waiting for everybody to jump on. How you guys doing? Hi, Dory. Hi, Kelly. I have notes so I don't forget or leave anything out. Me either. It feels weird. Hi, Dory. Sure, go ahead, April. Can you guys hear me okay? Awesome. I know, I like that part too, Kelly. It'll help us out tonight. And Eric just changed the light bulb in my light in here, so I'm really liking it. Kind of feels like daylight in here versus, you know, that yellow gross light. And an owl just landed on my light post outside. That's so cool. Do it. Scope. Thanks for the hearts. All right, I need you guys to help me out. If you see any creepers and comments and such, will you please block them for me? Because I don't know once we get started, I'm going to be able to pay attention and follow along in the comments without getting really overwhelmed. That's right, April. Block. So I'm hoping to give you like 15-20 minutes worth of content. I'll probably fly right through that and then give you guys a chance for questions at the end. But if there's something, as we're going through it, comment and we can definitely talk, or I can explain something better as we're going along. So don't feel like you have to wait till the end for questions. I'll do my best to try and keep up with the comments. Hello, Senatis. How are you tonight? Okay, should we go ahead and get started, guys, or give it a moment? All right. You're not fine. I'm sorry to hear that. All right, so we're talking building resiliency in your direct sales business. I am a blue status presenter with Unique, but if we have other people on here in direct sales, this will be applicable to you. I am going to try not to keep it unique specific, but some of the questions may be, and that's okay. All right, so we're going to talk resiliency. Now, when I use the word resiliency, what are some kinds of things that come to mind? I think of being determined, being persistent, being flexible, kind of easygoing, not really wanting to give up, right? But there's a little extra piece of being resilient where you guys probably, as soon as I say this, you're going to think of somebody probably right off the bat. I know I do. Being resilient is that persistence and determination, discipline to keep going when you have every excuse in the book not to. So persisting, keeping consistent in your business, showing up every day, even if you don't have a lot of followers, even if maybe you lost your job or something and got sick, and you still keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and you are still going. A lot of people think that being resilient means you either born with it or you're not. But let me assure you, it is a skill set, guys. You can learn how to develop resiliency, and you can build it, and you can learn it, and you can master these skills. I promise you. I'm going to break it down tonight We are talking about building resiliency in your direct sales business, Mr. Puzzled. So maybe this isn't for you. So I'm going to break it down into 6 different resiliency factors, and then also 4, I believe it's 3 kind of strategies there sure are, April. Thanks for keeping up on that. And then 3 strategies for building and overcoming. So one really good way before I really get into it. Oh, well that's not so nice, Joey. I have no makeup on tonight at all. So thanks. Hello from Dubai. All right, goodbye, Joey. I'm not sure how to block you. Can somebody block Joey for me? He's being nasty. Nobody needs that. All right, so one good way, we want to be able to track accomplishments, and they can be any kind of accomplishments in your business that you guys want to keep track of. Sales, new clients, parties, new contacts. Oh, okay, April, thanks. So I used to, and it was really successful, I don't know why I stopped, but I would make sheets. All right, so I would make, I have no idea how to do that, so I'm just gonna ignore them, guys. All right, so I would make sheets and put circles on them for the number of parties for a quarter. And every time I would book a party, I would put the hostess's name in there. And it was a really good visual for me to track how I was doing and if I was meeting my goal. So there's one way. So one of the first resiliency factors, guys, is being flexible and having accurate thinking. So what does that mean? That means being solution-oriented and capable of seeing the problem from all sides. So being able to take a step back, because initially, we all have that first kind of reaction, kind of doomsday, sometimes worst case scenario. So you want to be able to take a step back and look at it and be reality check it, so to speak. So asking yourself questions like, well, did I do my activity steps that I needed to do to really meet my goal? Or did I just do half of the activity steps? Did I put all of my energy into it, or was I just kind of doing it a little halfway? So being really honest with yourself and accurate about your thinking. Another way is to know how and when to regulate your emotions and your behavior. April. Oh goodness, you're funny. Okay, so sometimes we just want to tell it like it is, right? And sometimes it might feel really good to say those things, but being able to take a step back, again, accurate thinking, take a step back and realize that in the long term, telling it like it is might not be the best approach for us. And that goes right along with self-awareness, being able to understand triggers that we have, things that make us upset, things that get us down, things that make it difficult for us to keep going. So a lot of things we hear in direct sales, right? What's the big one? We hear no constantly, all the time. And what do we tell you? We say go for 100 no's, right? Because we want to know I don't even know how to do this. There we go. All right, I got that guy. I don't know if I can get Joey, but I got Puzzled gone. All right, so being able to understand why you are thinking and feeling in a certain way. Okay, so self-awareness. Thanks, April. All right, what was I talking about? I got all excited. I got him blocked. Self-awareness. Knowing when our thinking is being counterproductive, thank you. Knowing when our patterns are being a little self-destructive. Oh, I was talking about no's. That's what I was talking about. When we constantly hear, I got that Joey guy. All right, so when we're constantly hearing no's, it can be a huge bubble burster, right? Our whole confidence can just be shattered if we're having a really bad month. It's really hard to persist back past that if we are not achieving the goal that we set out to achieve for ourselves. So being self-aware about that and knowing that that is a difficult thing in this business to overcome. So having a strategy. So one thing, a really good thing to help you with that is to have a connection, to reach out, have a really good, strong support system, have an accountability partner, a pacing partner, somebody that you can reach out to that you can say to, you know, hey, I'm really struggling with this right now. Because there's a misconception about people who have really high resiliency is that they're doing it on their own. But they're not. They have a really strong support system. They have a good team of people in their corner that are helping them along. April and I have gotten really good at talking each other off the ledge, and that's kind of what we say to each other. We'll message each other and say, you know what, talk me off the ledge right now, and then we'll just give a brief synopsis about what's going on, and we just help each other through it. We problem solve, we give each other a chance to vent, of course we do, but then we problem solve, we brainstorm, we think of a way to make it better or to try a different approach, because when you've been doing this 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, things get monotonous. You want to change it up a bit. So being able to brainstorm and connect with others is a good resiliency factor. Another one is building meaning and building purpose. You know, we all have a different why about why we joined the direct sale company that we're in. So are you living your why? Or are you getting wrapped up in the day-to-day task stuff and forgetting why you even started? That purpose is connected to you at your core. And if you lose sight of that, you're gonna lose motivation. So stay on track. If you have to make a sign or a poster board or a dream board, vision board, whatever you want to call it, that gives you a quick snapshot of what your why is, that might help you stay grounded and connected to that purpose. And then the sixth resiliency factor is optimism. Now, I'm not talking about, I know, me too, it's still in a little, it's just a picture on my phone. I never printed it out. All right, so optimism. I'm not talking about like personality, pessimist versus optimist, but this is a thinking style. So do you tend to think about things in that worst case scenario? Yes. Or do you try to, again, these are all really, really connected and they feed off of each other. Try to be positive, action-oriented, and being really, really real and truthful with yourself, right? We all, well, not all of us, but many of us, right, we want to achieve the next status, the highest status. We want to advance all the way through the company. We want to make the big perks. But in order to do that, there are certain sacrifices that have to be made. And instead of kicking yourself and, you know, poor me and sitting on your pity pot, which I know we've all done it, you know, like, why am I not promoting? Why am I not getting sales? You've got to take a step back and you've got to look and you've got to really look hard in the mirror and say, am I doing what it takes? Am I willing to make those sacrifices in order to get there? And sometimes the answer is no, not at this time. It's just not right for me to make that sacrifice, and that's okay. But you got to be realistic with where you're at. So I'm kind of jumping a little bit into the strategies. And the first one is just to analyze what pushes your buttons. What are triggers? What are things that set you off? So when we're talking about resiliency, we tend to want to think about the things that shut us down, the things that make us not feel so good, the bubble busters, the confidence drainers, right? Energy suckers. So what are the things that make us feel that way? Is it losing the sale? Is it not booking parties? Is it not meeting our PRS goal for the month? Not getting new team members into our business, and really understand the who, what, where, the facts of that, understanding those things. And what is your reaction? How did you feel about that? How did you think about it? Most of the time we stop with how did I feel about that, but the most important thing is how did I think about that? Because our thinking, what we think, we become. I mean, it really is. Our thinking is so incredibly powerful, and I don't think we get it the credit that it deserves. So writing down exactly how you think about when you lose that sale, don't make your goals, don't bring new people in, can't book a party, because when you're thinking about that, it might come down to some fears. I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough to do this, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And then you've got to set yourself up to make a solution to that, because the reality is we all are capable of doing this business. There are skills that we can learn within this business to make us successful and help us grow. So fighting back, switching, reframing a lot of that negative thinking. All right, so the other one actually, and I was surprised by this one, and I've been doing a lot of resiliency work for a few years. So how you react to other people's good news shows a lot about your resiliency factor. So do you get jealous? Do you get upset? Do you get angry? Or do you fully rejoice within that other person's accomplishments and achievements? And then the last one, which I kind of already talked about, was shutting down that worst case scenario thinking. So that's the negative part that kind of takes over, right? When we're feeling defeated, we're feeling discouraged. So being able to switch that around. So one of the ways to do that is to go ahead and write down all of the worst case scenario thoughts that you have. Just write them down, see what happens. And then also make up an equally improbable case scenario. So that's just to generate some positive emotions and get you thinking out of that worst case scenario box. And then start developing a plan. So that a plan to overcome. So within that shutting down your thinking, you might need to reach out to your pacing partner, your accountability partner, your friend, your family, whoever's your support system in your business, to generate some other ideas on how you can step out, see the bigger picture. You can start talking down, getting rid of that worst case scenario thinking, reframing the really negative thoughts that are discouraging you and feeling defeated and keeping you in kind of that fear-based reactive mode instead of in the proactive mode. So just a little recap. Resiliency can be mastered, it can be achieved. It's a skill set. It's not something you're born with or you're not born with. I promise you, you can learn these things. It takes a lot of increased awareness just about how you talk to yourself, your first instinct, your first thought reaction when something bad happens, and then cultivating a change in that automatic way of thinking, which takes a lot of deliberate action, and connecting with somebody who is on the same level as you, who has similar goals for their business, similar status in their business, preferably not somebody within the same line as you. You might want to pick like maybe a sideline sister, so to speak. Like April and I are on different legs within the same company. So connecting with somebody that way can help you build some resiliency. So that's really all I had for you guys. Are there any questions? Are you guys still there? Where did you go? All right. Well, if there are no, thanks, Dory. Do you have any questions? I feel like I went really, really fast and I got very distracted by some of the creepers on tonight. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions, I guess we'll go ahead and sign off. for tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope that it was helpful, and post questions in the group if you guys come up with something, or if you want to know more about something, because I know I covered it really fast and very briefly. So, all right guys, have a good night. Bye.